Hey guys, welcome to my first look video on BMW's brand new M4 CSL. We're going to have a quick look at the headline figures, and then I'm going to get the opportunity to talk to Dirk, who is Head of Development at BMW M, so we can talk about the nitty-gritty with him and hear it firsthand. CSL, or Coupe Sport Lightweight, well, that badge hasn't been used for some time now. In fact, the last car that BMW put it on was their fantastic and iconic nowadays E46 M3 CSL. And that was about 20 odd years ago. So it's great to see a return of that badge. BMW are building just 1,000 units of these, and their main markets are going to be America, Germany, and the UK. I predict we're going to get about 150 odd units. In terms of pricing, well, that hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be around £150,000. So roughly a £70,000 premium over a, let's call it, regular M4 competition rear-wheel drive. That does sound like a lot of money, but remember back in 2016 when BMW released the F82 M4 GTS, well, that retailed at just over £120,000. So I think it's about right in the marketplace. And if you want something like the current GT3, well, you've got to pay overs for that. You're looking at about 250 grand. So it's almost £100,000 cheaper than that car. And that's kind of the car in my head, at least, that this is going to be pitched up against. In terms of colours, well, there's just three available. This gorgeous frozen Brooklyn grey, Alpine white, and black sapphire. Under the bonnet, it retains the familiar S58 engine that's in the regular M3 and M4, but power figures are up to 550 horsepower from 510, and torque figures are exactly the same at 650 Newton meters. That runs through the ZF 8-speed gearbox, which has had some software updates for this particular car, and all of that power and torque goes through an M differential on the rear axle. So there's no X-drive in this, and obviously that is to keep the weight down and obviously keep it more of a, let's say, traditional M car. BMW claim it will do the 0 to 62 sprint in just 3.8 seconds, which is only a tenth quicker than the M4 competition rear-wheel drive, but it will do 0 to 124 miles an hour in 11.5 seconds. So once it's off the line, it's going to be ballistically quick, and it will go on to a claimed top speed of just north of 190 miles an hour. So that should be quick enough, at least for the UK. So we know it's a coupe by looking at it. We know it's a sport because it's very fast, as we just talked about. But what about the lightweight bit of CSL? Well, BMW have managed to save 100 kilos out of this car behind me compared to a regular M4 competition rear-wheel drive, which is very impressive, but the regular car is pretty heavy to begin with, so that's 1,725 kilos. This one's 1,625. So it's not what I would call lightweight, but massively impressive that BMW have managed to strip that much weight out of a modern car. BMW actually claimed that this will be the fastest M car they've ever lapped around the Nürburgring, and I'm not going to doubt them just looking at this car. It has so much presence. You can see the negative camber on the front axle. The whole car looks like it sits a bit lower. It's really hunkered down, and it looks like it means business. Obviously, the figures do suggest that it means business too, and the amount of time that I've spent on track in my M3 or various M4 press cars, I mean, those standard cars are very, very impressive. This, wow. Oh, and it's on Cup 2 Rs as well, so that kind of gives you a bit of an idea of what this car is pitched as. Let me introduce you to Dirk.
Hello, thank you. My name is Dirk. I'm the CTO of BMW M, so I'm responsible for the engineering of the BMW M models since nearly 7 years, and I'm very happy today to show you the new M4 CSL.
Thank you so much. I've been here about half an hour, and I'm just struggling to sort of come to terms with this car. It's just absolutely stunning, and I'm sure the cameras will not do it as much justice as if you see it in real life. It's got a real presence, but there's a lot going on underneath the skin, externally, internally. Could we talk about sort of what's happened to this car, what you've done over the base M4 competition rear-wheel drive, which it's essentially based on?
So we want to offer a very special, a very performant edition on the new M4. That's the M4 CSL. The L in the CSL stands for lightweight. So this car is 100 kilogram lighter than the M4 competition, and that's in combination with much more horsepower. So we have here 550 horsepower in comparison to 510 in the M4 competition. That lifted the performance of the car very high. And we think it's a very good special offer and message in the 50th anniversary of BMW M in this year.
Fantastic. So it's going to be pretty fast around the Nürburgring.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yes,
we know.
Yeah, I did spot a few of these mules when I was out at the Nürburgring at the end of last year. I saw quite a few cars that I think were potentially the M4 CSL underneath. And yeah, it was amazing how extensively you test something like this before it goes out. It's not simply an M4 competition with a bit of body kit bolted on. It's a very, very different car.
Yes.
And we're about to talk about why that is and what actually hides underneath. So should we start with the front end?
So in the front end, I think you can see for the first time we offer the yellow lights as a special version for the M4. We have a different kidney, and we have also in the front an additional aerodynamic feature, the splitter, to increase the performance of the car, but also to show in the mirror that it's a special M4. And we do the same also in the rear. So we use a ducktail in the rear in combination with the laser wire rear lights. So I think you can see from front, but also from the rear, a complete different new interpretation of the M4.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, the front lights are beautiful, but the rear lights, I read that in the literature the other day, laser
wire.
Yeah,
it's laser wire.
But I thought it was a mistake. I was like, what is laser wire? But you go around there and it's beautiful. And that harps back to the F82 M4 GTS.
Yes.
M4 GTS and the M4 CS. Obviously, they had the OLED rear lights, which are really cool, but this is another level again. Okay, in terms of suspension and setup, it looks a bit lower than a regular
it's about 9 millimeter lower than the normal one.
Yep.
It's a complete different setup also in the kinematic of the car. We have also used in the rear different bearings to increase the performance of the car. We go with higher camber in the front especially to get higher precision and less understeering, because we want to have a very performance car, very precise driving, and that keeps the car in a new next level of the M4, of the new M4.
Fantastic. And these wheels, although they look very similar to the 826, 827s, they're not, are they? They're lightweight specials.
They are near to this one, because we have also the same dimension, but the different spec of the tires. So we use the Michelin Cup 2R tires.
Yes.
That means it's also an indicator for the new performance level we use. But the combination of the tires, the rims, and the chassis, I think, is the next step for the car.
Wow, yeah, I'm a big Michelin fanboy. I love Michelin tires. Not only do they give you the grip, but they also look, the sidewalls and the Cup 2Rs just look fantastic. And in terms of the brakes, so they're the carbon ceramics, and they're standard on the M4 CSL.
That's standard,
Okay, fantastic. And we've got the 19 and 20 inch staggered setup, as you say, same width as the M3 and M4.
Yes.
Let's just talk about the panels quickly. So we've got a carbon bonnet.
On front and rear, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a part of the weight reduction, but also for the design of the exterior.
Yes.
So we use that to get the overall 100 kilogram. And I think it's also a special demonstration of lightweight if you take the carbon as a material for the bonnet.
Sure, and it's all in important places as well, being quite high. And it looks, I mean, that ducktail, we'll get to that in a minute, but oh, wow, it just looks so good. Okay, and so what hides underneath the carbon bonnet? We've still got the S58.
It's the S58 in a very special setup with 550 horsepower, 650 Newton meters.
Wow.
And with the Steptronic 8-speed gearbox with a complete different setup of the gearbox. So the gear changing is much faster than in the M4 competition, and also faster than in the past the double clutch. So we take some additional ideas and features to increase the speed of the shifting up and down.
We've also got slightly different strut brace there.
That's right. So we have a different strut concept It's lighter and stiffer on the other side. I think later you can take a look on that. It's completely different also from the material in comparison to the M4 competition standard.
Right, amazing. Before we talk about the back end of the car, let's just delve into the interior. It's very special in there. Once again, when I saw the spec sheet of this car a couple of days ago, it read special carbon bucket seats or something, and in my head I'm like, well, the ones that are in the other M3 and M4, well, they're pretty special. But these are lighter and fixed, and there's lots of other things going on in the interior. So could you tell us about some of the weight saving in there and what you've done?
I think one of the main aspects is the M4 CSL is a two-seater.
Yes.
So there's no rear seat for passengers, and we have two full buckled carbon seats in combination with a CFK, so carbon fiber middle console. And with this we can also reduce the weight interior of the car a lot of. So I think the most important thing is the CSL is only a two-seater car.
Two-seater.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you would expect that, but I like the fact that you've got door cards in there, because obviously with cars like the F82 M4 CS, fantastic as that car was, if you took it on a long journey, there was no door cards and it became a bit tiring. So although this is a stripped out lightweight model,
yes,
you've still got creature comforts in there, you've still got iDrive 7, so it's a very, very amazing, special place to be. And then when we get around the back end of the car, obviously you've got your trademark quad exhaust there. The
yes,
exhaust system is not standard?
No, it's also a different one. It's made of titan. So
yep,
we have also a mass reduction, a weight reduction in the exhaust system. We have also in the rear the ducktail,
yes,
rear of the car. I think it's very near to the M3 CSL 20 years ago.
yep,
So we want also to do a homage to the M3 CSL 20 years ago.
yep,
I think it's the same design, the same story.
yep,
And also in combination with the laser wire rear lights, we have a very special design from the exterior, if you take a look from the rear
yep,
to the car.
yeah, it almost looks like a GT3 racing car from the back, or a GT4 racing car. It's very, very special. Dirk, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel. Thanks a lot for talking me around or walking me around one of your babies.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed my first look at the brand new BMW M4 CSL. Stay tuned for another video coming very, very soon. Cheers. Didn't think I would actually end the video there without listening to what this sounds like. Let's fire it up. I'm in Sport Plus.